He walks into the room and time folds in on itself. The tuxedo may be gone, the martini glass replaced with a quiet smile, but the aura, still unmistakably Bond. At 71, Pierce Brosnan doesn't just defy age, he redefines it. And when he stepped onto the red carpet at the Dunhill and BAFTA Filmmakers Dinner in 2025, jaws dropped, not because he looked good for his age, but because he looked like he'd stepped out of a time capsule untouched, unbothered, and undeniably iconic. But Brosnan didn't credit expensive skincare routines or Hollywood vanity. No, he thanked three things: Celtic hair jeans, potatoes with butter, and Guinness. That's it. No filters, no facades. Just Irish charm, heritage, and a wink to the simplicity of life. This isn't just a story about aging well. It's about how Pierce Brosnan became a symbol of timeless masculinity, not through perfection, but through authenticity. And in a world obsessed with youth, filters, and fast fame, Brosnan's quiet rebellion is exactly what makes him unforgettable. Let's rewind. Born in Navan, County Meath, Ireland, Brosnan's early life was far from glamorous. His father abandoned the family when Pierce was just a baby. His mother, a nurse, moved to London to find work, leaving young Pierce to be raised by relatives. It was a childhood marked by solitude, resilience, and imagination, the kind that shapes artists, not celebrities. He found escape in cinema. In the flickering lights of movie theaters, Brosnan saw worlds he wanted to live in. And when he discovered acting, it wasn't fame he chased, it was transformation. The ability to become someone else, to tell stories that mattered. His breakthrough came in the 1980s with the TV series Remington Steele. Charming, witty, and impossibly handsome, Brosnan became a household name. But it was in 1995, when he first donned the tuxedo as James Bond in Goldeneye, that he became a legend. For a generation, Brosnan was the definitive Bond, suave, lethal, and emotionally layered. He brought elegance back to espionage, blending danger with vulnerability. And even after his Bond era ended, Brosnan never faded. He evolved from the Matador to MIA. He embraced roles that challenged, amused, and surprised. He wasn't afraid to be silly, romantic, or broken. He let go of the need to be perfect, and that's what made him magnetic. But behind the camera, Brosnan's life was marked by tragedy. He lost his first wife, Cassandra Harris, to ovarian cancer. Years later, his daughter Charlotte died of the same disease. These weren't just losses, they were heartbreaks that could have shattered anyone. Yet Brosnan carried them with grace. He didn't hide his grief. He wore it like a quiet badge of honor. And in doing so, he became more than a movie star. He became a man people could relate to, someone who had loved deeply, lost painfully, and still chose to live fully. So when he jokes about potatoes and Guinness being his secret to youth, it's not just humor, it's philosophy. Brosnan isn't selling a lifestyle, he's celebrating one. One rooted in heritage, simplicity, and joy. His Celtic hair jeans, a nod to his Irish roots, thick, wavy, and untouched by time. His love for potatoes and butter, a tribute to comfort food, the kind that nourishes the soul. And Guinness? Well, that's just Brosnan being Brosnan, cheeky, proud, and unapologetically Irish, but beneath the charm lies discipline. Brosnan practices yoga, eats clean, and stays active. He's not chasing youth, he's honoring his body. And that's the real secret, not vanity, but respect. In interviews, Brosnan often speaks about aging not as a curse, but as a privilege. You earn your years, he once said. You wear them like armor. And when you look at him now, silver-haired, sharp-eyed, and still commanding every room he enters, you believe him. Because Brosnan isn't just aging well, he's aging with purpose. And in a culture obsessed with anti-aging, Brosnan's message is revolutionary: don't fight time, dance with it. When the Bond era ended, many expected Pierce Brosnan to fade into the background, a relic of a franchise, a handsome face whose time had passed. But Brosnan had no intention of being boxed in. He didn't just walk away from Bond, he walked towards something bigger: emotional depth, creative freedom, and a career that refused to be defined by one role. His post-Bond choices were bold. In The Matador, he played a broken, eccentric hitman, a far cry from the polished MI6 agent. He stripped away the glamour, exposing vulnerability, humor, and chaos. Critics were stunned. Audiences were intrigued. Brosnan wasn't clinging to his past, he was reinventing it. Then came MIA, singing, dancing, and embracing romantic comedy with full-hearted joy. Brosnan shattered the stereotype of aging male leads. He wasn't afraid to be playful. He wasn't afraid to be imperfect, and that's what made him magnetic. In a sea of actors chasing youth, Brosnan leaned into maturity and made it look irresistible. But it wasn't just the roles. It was the man behind them. Pierce Brosnan's life has been shaped by love and loss in equal measure. His first wife, Cassandra Harris, was more than a partner, she was his anchor. When she died of ovarian cancer in 1991, Brosnan was devastated. He became a single father overnight, raising their children while navigating grief that never truly left him. Years later, tragedy struck again. His daughter Charlotte, also diagnosed with ovarian cancer, passed away in 2013. Brosnan didn't hide from the pain. He spoke about it openly, with grace and sorrow. He didn't turn his grief into spectacle, he turned it into strength. These losses didn't harden him, they deepened him. And that depth is visible in every role, every interview, every quiet moment he shares with the world. Brosnan isn't performing resilience, he's living it. That's why, when he talks about aging, people listen. Because he's not selling youth, he's celebrating life. He's showing that elegance isn't about wrinkle-free skin or perfect posture. It's about presence. It's about how you carry your story, and Brosnan carries his with style. He's become a fashion icon in his own right. Silver hair, tailored suits, and a gaze that still commands attention. But it's never forced. It's never curated. Brosnan's style is effortless because it's authentic. He's not trying to be young. He's trying to be real. In recent years, Brosnan has embraced painting, environmental activism, and quiet family life. He shares glimpses of his art, bold, emotional, and deeply personal. He speaks about climate change, ocean preservation, and the importance of legacy. Not the Hollywood kind, the human kind, and through it all, he remains grounded. He credits his Irish roots, his family, and yes, his love for potatoes and Guinness as the pillars of his well-being. It's not a gimmick, it's a philosophy. Brosnan believes in joy, in simplicity, in the power of heritage.so. When he steps onto a red carpet at 71, looking like time forgot to touch him, it's not just genetics, it's grace, it's discipline. It's the result of a life lived fully with heartbreak, laughter, and purpose. Pierce Brosnan isn't just aging well, he's aging meaningfully. And in a world obsessed with youth, he's a reminder that charm, elegance, and relevance don't fade, they evolve. Pierce Brosnan's legacy isn't built on just red carpets and movie roles. It's built on the quiet moments, the ones that never make headlines but shape a man's soul. Behind the tuxedo and the charm lies a story of heartbreak, resilience, and deep emotional gravity. His first wife, Cassandra Harris, wasn't just a partner, she was his muse, his anchor, his home. They met in the late 1970s, and from the beginning, their connection was electric. Cassandra was already an actress, elegant and sharp, and she saw in Pierce not just potential, but depth. They married in 1980, and for over a decade, they built a life filled with love, laughter, and children. But in 1987, Cassandra was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. Brosnan stood by her side through every treatment, every hospital visit, every sleepless night. He wasn't just a husband, he became her caretaker, her strength when hers was fading. And when she passed away in 1991, Brosnan was shattered. He was 38, a widower, and a single father to 3 children, 2 of Cassandra's from a previous marriage whom he had adopted, and their son, Sean. Grief didn't make him bitter. It made him tender. In interviews, Brosnan never shied away from speaking about Cassandra. He called her the greatest influence on his life. And even decades later, her memory lives in his words, his art, and his choices. But fate wasn't done testing him. In 2013, his daughter Charlotte, Cassandra's child, whom Pierce had raised as his own, was also diagnosed with ovarian cancer. The same disease, the same battle. And once again, Brosnan found himself in the role of protector, supporter, and silent warrior. Charlotte passed away at just 41, and Brosnan, now older, now more weathered, carried another scar on his heart. These losses didn't harden him. They deepened him. They gave him a quiet wisdom, a kind of emotional gravity that no acting school can teach. When he speaks about life, there's a softness in his voice, not weakness, but understanding. He knows what it means to lose, and he knows what it means to keep going. That's why his presence on screen feels different. It's not just performance, it's lived experience. Whether he's playing a grieving father, a lonely spy, or a romantic lead, there's always something beneath the surface, a flicker in the eyes, a pause in the voice, a truth that can't be faked, and that's why audiences connect with him. Because Brosnan isn't just a celebrity, he's a mirror reflecting the beauty and pain of being human. In a world obsessed with youth, Brosnan stands apart. He doesn't chase it, he doesn't fear it, he embraces it with humor, humility, and a touch of Irish mischief. When asked about his youthful appearance, he doesn't list expensive treatments or secret routines. He smiles and says, Celtic hair jeans, potatoes with butter, and Guinness. It's a joke, yes, but it's also a philosophy. Brosnan believes in joy, in simplicity, in the things that make life rich, not just long, but behind the charm lies discipline. Brosnan practices yoga regularly. He eats clean, avoids processed food, and stays active. He's not trying to look young, he's trying to feel alive. And that's the difference. He respects his body, not because he fears aging, but because he honors the life he's been given. His style reflects that same philosophy. He's become a fashion icon not through trends, but through timelessness. Tailored suits, open collars, silver hair worn proudly. He doesn't hide his age. He wears it like a crown. And then there's his art. Brosnan paints bold, emotional, abstract pieces that reflect his inner world. He shares them occasionally, not for fame, but for connection. His brushstrokes speak of grief, joy, memory, and hope. It's another way he tells stories not with words, but with color. He's also deeply involved in environmental activism. He speaks about ocean preservation, climate change, and the responsibility of legacy. Not the Hollywood kind, the human kind. He wants to leave behind more than films. He wants to leave behind impact, and through it all, he remains grounded. He credits his Irish roots, his family, and yes, his love for potatoes and Guinness as the pillars of his well-being. It's not a gimmick, it's a lifestyle. Brosnan believes in balance, in laughter, in the power of heritage. So when he steps onto a red carpet at 71, looking like time forgot to touch him, it's not just genetics, it's grace, it's discipline, it's the result of a life lived fully with heartbreak, laughter, and purpose. Pierce Brosnan isn't just aging well, he's aging meaningfully. And that's what makes him iconic. He's not clinging to past glories, he's building new ones. Whether it's a dramatic role, a romantic comedy, or a quiet art exhibition, Brosnan continues to evolve. He's not afraid to be vulnerable. He's not afraid to be silly. He's not afraid to be real, and that's why he matters. In an industry that often discards its aging stars, Brosnan remains relevant not because he's trying to be young, but because he's showing us how to grow old with style. He's become a symbol of graceful masculinity, emotional depth, and quiet rebellion against superficiality. His fans span generations. From those who grew up with Goldeneye to those discovering MIA for the first time, Brosnan's appeal is universal. He's not just admired, he's loved, and as he continues to act, paint, and inspire, Brosnan proves that legacy isn't about fame. It's about authenticity. So when he thanks potatoes, Guinness, and Celtic jeans for his youthful look, he's not just being cheeky, he's being honest. He's showing us that aging isn't a battle, it's a journey. And Pierce Brosnan, he's walking that journey with elegance, humor, and heart, because he didn't just refuse to age, he redefined what aging could look like.